In January 2014, police officers were dispatched to the home of 52-year-old Harold Sasko. What they found inside was disturbing. Harold's lifeless body lay within the house, and the circumstances immediately suggested that something violent had occurred. As investigators began piecing together the scene, they uncovered an unusual detail. An 18-year-old girl had been living with him, a young woman most people believed to be his stepdaughter. Yet when officers arrived, she was gone. As word of the discovery spread, shock rippled through the neighborhood, leaving an entire community searching for answers. That young woman was Sarah McLinn. She was born on July 9, 1994, and raised in Topeka, the capital city of Kansas. From the beginning, Sarah's life followed a different path. She never attended a traditional school, spending her childhood being homeschooled instead. Quiet, shy, and inexperienced, Sarah was known for her gentle nature and her deep sensitivity toward others. She had a younger brother with disabilities, whom she helped care for with remarkable devotion, and an older sister who was her closest confidant and emotional anchor. Behind this seemingly calm exterior, however, Sarah's childhood was marked by profound trauma. At a young age, she experienced an event that would leave lasting scars. A neighbor began abusing her and caused her severe TB. From that point on, her nights were filled with recurring nightmares, sudden panic, and overwhelming fear. Anxiety became a constant presence, shaping her thoughts and disrupting her ability to feel safe. As the years passed, the emotional burden grew heavier. Sarah began running away from home and engaging in increasingly harmful behaviors. Alarmed, her parents sought professional help, hoping therapy could ease her pain. But stability never returned. Around the same time, her parents' marriage fell apart. The divorce shattered what little sense of security Sarah had left. She later described feeling invisible, unwanted, and deeply unloved. Eventually, she lost contact with her father entirely, while her relationship with her mother deteriorated into constant conflict. By her early teens, Sarah felt trapped in a home that no longer felt like one. Determined to escape, she found a job at just 14 years old in a local pizzeria. The business was owned by Harold Sasko, a middle-aged man who, on the surface, appeared respectable and successful. He owned several businesses, was financially stable, and was known publicly as a devout Christian. But behind closed doors, employees whispered a very different story. Many later claimed that Harold was a pervert, displaying inappropriate behavior and a disturbing interest in girls. Terry David, the store manager, recalled that Harold repeatedly ordered him to hire only young, attractive employees. Disturbed by these demands, Terry developed a habit of warning new girls to be cautious. When Sarah received this warning, she brushed it off. Naive and trusting, she believed it was an exaggeration. Harold soon began paying special attention to her. He offered rides, bought her gifts, and took a personal interest in her struggles. Slowly and deliberately, he gained her trust. He encouraged her to see him as a father figure, someone she could rely on, while insisting she keep their relationship a secret from her mother. Craving stability and guidance, Sarah complied, unaware of how dangerous that secrecy would become. Toward the end of her adolescence, Sarah endured another profoundly traumatic experience, which shook her fragile sense of recovery. She was raped while on vacation with a friend. A boy raped her and burned her with a cigarette. She resumed treatment and was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. Her condition rapidly deteriorated. Her depression deepened, her thoughts darkened, and her emotional state spiraled. Eventually, she was admitted to a psychiatric facility, where she received intensive therapy and medication in an attempt to stabilize her condition. After her release, Sarah tried to move forward. She continued her treatment and followed her doctor's recommendations, showing brief signs of improvement. But home remained a place of tension and emotional turmoil. By then, she no longer worked at Harold's pizzeria, yet he remained a constant presence in her life. He picked her up, took her out to lunch, and asked detailed questions about her struggles. Sensing her vulnerability, he began suggesting that she move in with him. He portrayed himself as her rescuer, promising financial security, emotional support, and a future free from chaos. He even offered to pay for her college education. For months, Sarah resisted. Despite her desire to escape her home, something held her back. But the constant arguments with her mother and the increasingly hostile atmosphere wore her down. In 2012, shortly after graduating high school and turning 17, Sarah agreed to move in with Harold. At first, it felt like a fresh start. Harold was attentive and generous. He provided her with a place to live, covered her expenses, and enrolled her in college. For a time, it seemed as though he expected nothing in return. That illusion shattered when Sarah turned 18. Harold's demeanor shifted and his intentions became unmistakable. He began making inappropriate demands, framing them as repayment for everything he had given her. Sarah was stunned. Until then, they had presented themselves as a stepfather and stepdaughter to avoid suspicion, and she had never imagined he would cross that line. When she refused, Harold's response was swift and furious. He made it clear that without him, she would lose everything: her home, her education, and any sense of security. Fully aware of her past, her mental health struggles, and her dependence on him, Harold tightened his control. He exploited her vulnerabilities, using manipulation, fear, and financial pressure to keep her trapped. He compiled lists of expenses, claimed she owed him enormous sums of money, and insisted she repay every dollar. Although Sarah worked, her minimum wage income could never meet his demands. Isolated and psychologically cornered, she began to unravel. The gentle, soft-spoken girl she once was disappeared. In her place emerged someone guarded, volatile, and constantly on edge. According to Sarah, her thoughts slowly grew darker, more chaotic, until they began drifting toward extreme and dangerous impulses she had never known before. At some point, Sarah's behavior took an even darker turn. When she returned home one day, she carried out disturbing acts that revealed how deeply fractured her mental state had become. Harold was aware of what she had done, yet he never confronted her. Instead, he dismissed it, even mocking her, as if it were nothing more than another sign of her instability. From that moment on, Sarah's life followed a bleak routine. When she was not at work, she remained inside Harold's house, frequently under the influence of alcohol and illegal substances, her mood constantly shifting between anger, numbness, and despair. The weight of everything she had endured pressed down on her relentlessly. In an attempt to regain control, Sarah began taking antidepressants, hoping they would quiet her thoughts and ease her suffering. Weeks passed, but nothing changed. Doctors adjusted her medication, prescribing stronger drugs, yet the results were the same. Instead of improving, her condition continued to deteriorate. Slowly, she entered a spiral of self-destruction, one that seemed impossible to stop. By then, it was no longer a question of if something terrible would happen in that house, but when. On January 17, 2014, police officers were dispatched to Harold's home after his co-workers reported him missing. He had failed to show up at the pizzeria for several days, and repeated attempts to contact him had gone unanswered. When officers arrived at the house, they rang the doorbell multiple times, but no one responded. Growing concerned, they decided to peer through the windows. One officer caught a glimpse inside and immediately saw what appeared to be a man lying motionless on the floor, surrounded by blood. The officers forced entry into the home. Inside, they found Harold's body. Nearby were several empty beer cans scattered around the room. Harold was transported to the medical examiner's office, where it was determined that he had died from multiple stab wounds to the neck. Toxicology tests later revealed that the beer cans contained traces of sedative medication. Investigators knew that Sarah had been living in the house with Harold, and when they searched the residence, they found her cell phone. Given her age, officers initially believed she might be missing or had been taken against her will. Further investigation told a different story. Police learned that Sarah had contacted her workplace, stating she would be absent for a few days due to the death of a relative. When officers spoke with her family, her mother mentioned that Sarah had been trying to reach her grandmother. Authorities traced those calls and discovered they were made from payphones at various convenience stores. By analyzing the locations of those stores, they determined that Sarah was traveling from Kansas toward Texas. Surveillance footage from the stores confirmed that the caller was indeed Sarah, and that she was alone. At that moment, investigators realized she had not been kidnapped. She became the primary suspect in Harold's murder. On January 25, 2014, 11 days after the killing, 19-year-old Sarah was found by park rangers in Everglades National Park. It was around 10:30 p.m., and she was sleeping inside Harold's car. When officers woke her and placed her under arrest, they discovered she was carrying a loaded firearm. A search of the vehicle revealed another gun, illegal substances, and 2 knives. Sarah was not immediately extradited to Kansas. Instead, she remained in Florida, where she was questioned by multiple investigators. She did not resist arrest, nor did she attempt to fabricate a story. Almost immediately, she admitted that she had killed Harold and fled the scene. According to her statement, she felt bullied, trapped, and believed that killing him was the only way to escape. She provided a detailed account of what had happened. Sarah explained that a few days before the crime, while Harold was out, she went to a pharmacy and purchased medication intended for insomnia. On January 14th, 3 days before Harold's body was discovered, she had the day off while he stayed home making repairs. At one point, Harold asked her to bring him a beer. Sarah later said that in that moment, she realized this was her opportunity. She knew he would continue drinking, and she began adding the medication to his drinks gradually, waiting until later so he would not notice the taste. Over time, the combination of alcohol and pills caused Harold to lose consciousness. Sarah then restrained him. At one point, she said, Harold briefly regained consciousness and murmured something she could not fully understand. She claimed she felt a moment of pity, but she did not stop. Determined to carry out her plan, she used a knife and attacked him, ultimately killing him. Once she realized he was dead, Sarah went into the bathroom and wrote the word freedom on the wall using his blood. She then washed herself, changed her clothes, gathered money, a tablet, and Harold's car, and left the house. She intentionally left her cell phone behind, hoping police would believe something had happened to her as well. Sarah initially drove toward Texas, but once there, she decided she did not want to stay, complaining that the nights were too cold. She continued on to Florida, sleeping in the car and stopping along highways to rest. After arriving, she visited a local tattoo artist named James Baker to get a new tattoo. This was not her first. She already had the phrase, "Only God can judge me," tattooed on her shoulder. For her second tattoo, she chose a quote from a book, "Beware of the dark pit at the bottom of our heart. In its icy black depths dwell strange, twisted creatures that are best left undisturbed." Sarah believed that by cooperating fully with police and revealing the abuse she had suffered at Harold's hands, investigators might show leniency. That did not happen. Instead, authorities portrayed Sarah as a cold and dangerous individual, while Harold was presented as a calm, devout Catholic who had only wanted to help her. During one interrogation, Sarah admitted that during intense fits of rage while living with Harold, she had felt urges to kill. Prosecutors later argued that Sarah murdered Harold, not out of fear or self-defense, but because she wanted to know what it felt like to take a man's life. Police also discovered a message on Sarah's phone in which Harold apologized for forcing her into a sexual relationship. Despite this, none of that evidence was presented to the jury during the first trial. All documentation of Harold's abuse was excluded in favor of securing a conviction. Sarah's trial began in February 2014. Her defense attorney chose not to focus on the abuse allegations, as the prosecution refused to acknowledge them. Instead, he pursued a risky strategy, arguing that Sarah was not guilty by reason of mental disorder. The defense claimed she suffered from dissociative identity disorder and had developed alternate personalities to survive years of abuse. The strategy failed. Neither the judge nor the jury believed the argument. The prosecution presented a different narrative. They claimed Sarah killed Harold purely out of curiosity and desire, insisting that the sexual relationship, despite pressure, was consensual. They further alleged that the illegal substances found in the home were purchased by Sarah herself, even though no direct evidence supported this claim. What prosecutors were able to prove was that Sarah had planned the murder in advance. Messages sent to her sister revealed that she believed she had already found a way to get rid of him for good. Her browser history showed that she had spent weeks researching vulnerable areas of the human body and how to attack them. On September 4, 2015, Sarah, 21 years old at the time, was found guilty of first-degree premeditated murder and sentenced to life in prison, with the possibility of parole after 50 years. After the verdict, information previously withheld from the jury began surfacing in the media. Details about the abusive nature of Sarah and Harold's relationship became public, raising serious questions about the fairness of the trial and the prosecution's motives. Public interest in the case continued to grow. In 2021, Sarah reached a plea agreement with prosecutors. Her sentence was modified. While she remains sentenced to life in prison, she will be eligible to apply for parole after 25 years instead of 50. This case continues to divide public opinion. Was Sarah a calculating killer, or a deeply damaged young woman pushed beyond her limits? What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments. This Into the Crime Depths. If this story moved you, please like the video and subscribe for more deep dives into the shadows of the human heart. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next video.